Good morning, FCF. It is actually day 6 in our journey where we're looking at scriptural paradoxes. Now remember, on Thursday, we're going to be doing live question and answer sessions once again. So this will take you up through Wednesday, and then if you're interested on Thursday, we'll be there for the questions. So our last scriptural paradox for this journey, we're going to be in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And I'm going to kind of give you the context to it. I'm going to read you verse 7 through 10. 10 is really the key paradoxical verse. But a little bit of context. Paul has been talking about revelations that God has given him, even being caught up into what's called the third heaven. In Scripture, in the New Testament times, the air just above ourselves was considered the first heaven, and then space was considered the second heaven, and then the third heaven was considered that dimension, that realm where God abode with the righteous. So Paul had talked about being caught up there and being given revelations that were not even fit for a human being to utter in this present time. And that picks up with where the passage gets interesting. So 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7. To keep me from becoming conceited because of these surpassing great revelations, there was given me a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. Let me pause there. Paul is saying, because of these great revelations, to keep him from becoming conceited, God gives him, notice it's a gift, but it sure didn't sound like a gift. A messenger of Satan, we don't know exactly what it is, but we do know what it was doing. It was torment. It was a source of torment to Paul. He's going to express how deep the torment was in the next verse. Verse 8. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, verse 9, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. There's a paradox there too. Power made perfect in weakness. Therefore, says Paul, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses so that Christ's power may rest on me. And then verse 10, the most paradoxical. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties, for when I am weak, then I am strong. There's the heart of the paradox. When I am weak, then I am strong. Now I'm going to repeat this because these are things that are very unpleasant. Paul says, that is why, for Christ's sake, in other words, he's saying, because of my devotion to Christ, because of my insistence on spreading the word of Christ for the entirety of my life, he was encountering these kind of experiences. And now he's going to list them. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses. He experienced physical, mental, emotional weakness because of his service to God. In insults, he was insulted because of his devotion to Christ. In hardships, he went through, if you read Paul's story, he went through lots of hardships because of his devotion to serving God. And in persecutions, he was incarcerated numerous times, beaten numerous times because of his devotion to Christ. In difficulties covers the full gamut of things. For when I am weak, then I'm strong. So here's the paradox. Paul said he discovered by experience that it was better for him to feel weak. It was better for him to be at that edge of desperation, that place where we cling to God, we cry out to God, we grab hold of God with an energy and an intensity that we don't have when things are going smoothly. Now, some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Our tendency when things are going smoothly is to drift away from God. It's a shame, but it just seems to be part of the human dilemma that we have. But when we are going through the ringer, when we're being insulted, when we feel weak, when we're being persecuted, when we're going through hardships, when we're going through difficulties, we feel the need for God's presence and we cry out to Him and we lay hold of Him. We have a new level of spiritual energy. And Paul discovered, he says, it's better for me to go through these things because they make me feel weak. And when I feel weak, it develops within me this spiritual energy to depend on Christ, to cry out to Him. I know I don't have what it takes to make it. And I find out there's a different kind of strength that Christ can infuse in me. Now I want to share something with you about this strength. I've logged a few years of walking with God now. And when you are at this place of weakness, you feel, listen to me carefully, what you feel is the weakness. And Christ then infuses you with strength to endure, to stay in the game, to stay alive, to stay faithful. You are not overwhelmed with this sudden feeling of relief and joy. No, you're given the power to stay faithful, to endure. But then when you get through this particular experience, you look back and you say, oh my goodness, I have such confidence in God now. I know He rescued me in the past. I know He promises He'll rescue me again. And I know that no matter what I go through, I can be confident, I can be bold. He will give me just the strength I need to stay faithful to Him, no matter how bad it may feel to be me on any given day. Some of you, you really need to think about that concept. He will enable us to stay faithful, but we will feel the weakness. So Paul said, when I'm weak, then I'm strong. Why? Because we cry out to God. We're dependent upon Him. We lay hold of Him with a desperate intensity that we don't have in the everyday circumstances. I hope this paradox will give you something to live on for many years to come. Thank you, FCF.